So hey, what's up guys, Robox here and welcome back to our MotoGP 20 career mode, and today we are starting season 7. Before we head into this episode though, I would like to quickly give a plug to my second channel. So I've created a second channel called Robox Plays. I've had this for a few years and I've never really used it, but what I want to do is start making some just gaming videos, just different types of games, let's plays, one-offs, that sort of thing, and we'll do some classic games, brand new releases, that sort of thing as well. So link will be in the description. Link is also in the channel section of this channel, so head over to that tab on the channel page, get subscribed if you are interested in that content. But for now, let's get straight into things here for season 7 of our MotoGP 20 career mode. So as you can see on screen, we are setting up our junior team, so you have to do this in a season and then they start in the following season. Someone alerted me to this in the comments, so I had a few weeks left on the career save, so I've quickly gone in, created us a team, and what I've done is we're now hiring our managers and we're going to hire our riders as well. And for this season I'm creating just a Moto2 team. I want to see how it works, I want to see how much it costs, if it has a big impact on cash flow and stuff like that, but from what I can tell, having recorded the first episode, it doesn't have too much of an impact, and it just adds another element to the career mode. So I think what I'm going to do during this season at a later date, I will set up a Moto3 team which will take place in season 8. So for this year we've just got our Moto2s to worry about. So then, picking our riders nicely, and also I haven't revealed who we'll be riding for in this season, and that will be revealed in about 20 seconds or so. We know it's create a team. We're creating our own brand new MotoGP team. I haven't done this in the MotoGP class. I did it in Moto2. You guys seem to enjoy it. Our sponsor for that was GoPro, and GoPro will be returning for season 7. So then we've entered into a contract with GoPro, and GoPro are sponsoring our MotoGP team. They are also sponsoring our Moto2 team as well. So we've managed to reach an agreement with GoPro and also Ducati as our manufacturer. So we are now a customer team of Ducati. We'll have the GP20, but our updates will probably be slightly behind the factory Duke, so we might be disadvantaged, but I'm confident we can develop this bike into a decent bike. So in terms of areas of development then, I want to focus on the frame. I want it to handle good. We know the engine is going to be decent out of the box as well, so we can sort of leave that to one side for the first half of the season. So I'm going to focus on the frame, and you'll see that in my choice of development packs here in winter testing. You can see our leathers. I've gone for a purple with a flash of yellow. I hope you guys like it. I was really stumped as to what colour scheme to follow. I didn't want to just follow red because then you just look like the factory Ducati team. I didn't want to go for colours that were already on the MotoGP grid, so like blues are everywhere, orange, what else we've got? We've got quite a lot of blue, reds as well. So I wanted to go for something that we haven't got, and two colours I thought of was pink and purple. So I ended up going with purple because I think it matches that fluorescent yellow quite nicely, and we've gone for a pink helmet as well, and my Moto2 team has followed similar branding, so hopefully you guys like that. But in winter testing then you can see we're using pack 3, and the difference between the packs is pretty much the same really. Pack 1, which is the one we're using now, pack 1 is the only one which has more agility than the other two packs. The other two packs were full stability, but I wanted something to be a bit more agile, and that will influence our decision in choosing the development course for the season ahead. Now you can see pack 1, 201.9, I think the other pack we used 201.45, something like that. So they're pretty similar because you see it's this lap number 5 we've completed with pack 1 to a 1.5. So we're pretty much matching there or thereabouts, but I did end up choosing pack 1 at the end of winter testing. You can see we crash at turn number 1 at that point. I was like, okay, that's enough winter testing for now. Let's get straight into things. And yeah, you can see fastest was 1.4 with pack 3, but I wanted the extra agility with pack 1, hence why I ended up choosing pack number 1. Now I think pack number 3 was quicker because it had absolute performance on the engine, and there's lots of straights around here at Malaysia, so I couldn't just focus on straight line speed. But here we go then, getting into our development. I'm starting the first node. You can see the frame is pretty weak compared to what a factory Ducati team would have, so I'm going to focus on that area for the season ahead. So hopefully by sort of the first third of the season, we should have a decent frame under our belt. But here we go, Qatar is always a tough track. The AI are very strong around here, and we found that in this race. You'll see we will be heading out to the USA for round number 2 after Qatar, so make sure you stick around for that. But Qatar was more about getting used to our new bike, our new engine as well, Ducati power unit, and also Ducati frame and everything. So this bike is completely different to everything we've ever ridden. I mean, we got on really well with the Yamaha. The Honda took a little while to get up to speed, and we just missed out to Marquez, who was absolutely brilliant last season. But yeah, our first time riding a Ducati, it's a completely different bike. That's the thing that Milestone have done really well with this game, is all the bikes feel individual. I'm yet to ride a Suzuki, but let's see how we get on with Ducati before we talk about moving teams next season. But as you can see, qualifying 1 didn't go to plan. We only managed to get 5th place, which meant we didn't make it into the second qualifying session. So we're starting in about P14, 15, something like that. Probably a little bit further down the grid. So you can see Marquez took pole from Fabio Quartararo, then Maverick Vinales, and Alex Marquez in P12. Disappointing for him, but unfortunately that's his reflection of pace. So P15 is our starting position in the end. Then with our brand new team Ducati, hopefully we can impress GoPro. Like I say, it's going to be damage limitation around here at Qatar. Struggle for pace, AI are strong, and just didn't suit my riding style on this particular day. So let's get straight into things. Get a decent start if we can. We know the power unit is going to be good, and the engine will be strong. So coming to turn number 1 on the brakes, then trying to get underneath a Nakagami and Alex Marquez there, but not quite able to. We're alongside a Vintiers. Mir's down in 17th place behind us, and up the road then we're just trying to navigate safely through the opening corners and trying to get underneath. Is that Zarco? Is that Rabat? I can't tell. It's Rabat on the outside there, and we're going to head straight up the middle around the outside of Alex Marquez into P13. They're pretty weak on the brakes into turn 4. Miguel Oliveira on the Tech 3. I think he ran wide and down he went. So still jockeying for position with Nakagami there, and now giving Alex Marquez a little punt. He won't be happy with that, but we're just trying to get into the top 10 if possible from the start. I want to make our way up as early as possible and then just try and hold off if we can. I mean, the AI, they're pretty weak on the first lap, so you can really take advantage of that. So that was the aim here. Get up into the top 10 if I can. Try getting a points paying position and then just try and fend off any attacks behind. Hopefully we can do that. But I was having trouble with mid-corner grip in particular on this Ducati. You can see Alex Marquez just doing us around the outside there, and we ran wide into him a little bit. But again, running wide, mid-corner grip, it just wasn't happening for us today. And Alex Marquez back up the inside, more contact with Alex Marquez, more contact on the exit as well. Our rival from our Aprilia seasons there. We're getting got a long-lasting relationship with Alex Marquez, haven't we, from the Aprilia days? But anyway, into the final corner, trying to get back at Alex Marquez, but he can just hold it round the outside. That Honda has so much more grip, and I think that's why I'm struggling, going from last season on that factory Repsol Honda onto this customer Ducati team. It's just not got the mid-corner grip that we used to have. So I'm pushing it on the brakes, but then running deep and then making the mid-corner grip worse. So that's the area of focus for development, that frame and getting that grip. Probably some setup changes to the suspension will help us out as well, so I'll look into that too. But slotting into P12 then, Alex Marquez, I expect he's going to make his way up through the grid. That's what he tends to do. He starts off poor and then he makes his way up through the grid. He finds the pace with that Repsol Honda. but hopefully we can go with him. But again, just off the apexes and just not having a great time through the corners today. And running it deep into turn number 1. This is not going to go well. And Miller on the Pramac comes back through. Of course, he's next year's game. We're going to see him on that factory Ducati. And next year's game, there's going to be a lot of rider changes. So that's going to be an interesting one. I hope Milestone add rider transfers as well, like you have in the F1 games. That is what they need. We can't have another career mode like this where it's just static season after season. We're in season 7 now, and we need to start having some driver transfers. But anyway, lap number 4 then, we've dropped off Miller, and now Bagnaia coming through. He'd had enough. He'd been sat behind us for that lap, and he was poking his nose here and there, and he just couldn't get through. But Bagnaia, in the end, he just forces the issue, gives us a little bit of damage, which I'm not happy about. So that's going to cost us even more grip through the corners and straight line speed as well, because it's aero damage. So it's going to increase our drag on the bike. But P14 then, sat behind Bagnaia. I don't think we're going to be able to get him back. I mean, that Pramac seems to be working a lot better than our Ducati. So that's not ideal, but I'm just starting to think who's behind us, because we're in sort of we're only picking up 1 or 2 points here, and I want to pick up a point if possible, but we're just dropping down the order at a rate of knots here. Quartararo 53.3. What's our lap time in comparison? A 1:55.8. Way off the pace here today, so we've got a lot of work to do with the frame. Hopefully we can bring it back in Austin, Texas, a track that will suit our bike a little bit more, but also suit my riding style, as Mir gets us at turn number 1 there. Not ideal. The Suzuki has a lot of grip through the corners, so we're probably going to struggle to stick with him, but we're not going to give up. We're on lap 5, we've got 1 more lap after this, and I tell you what, I really am looking forward to getting into the next round. I sort of written off this weekend and wanted to get into Austin, Texas. You see there the GP19 of Zarco just gripping it up through that corner. And in he goes to P15, and Brad Binder now on the KTM too. He's getting through, but we're going to get him back up the inside surely. An acceleration from the Ducati. We cut him off there, back into P16. So we're not going to be picking up any points here today, unfortunately, unless I can get Zarco somehow, or even Mir. But I don't think that's going to be likely. And as you can see on the final lap then, 2.5 seconds, no, 2.2 seconds, sorry, up the road is Zarco. So he's pulling away over that 1 lap, and we've just got no grip. And in the end, Marc Marquez takes the win despite Quartararo setting fastest laps. Marc Marquez managed to beat him to the win here at Qatar, and that's going to give him the lead in the championship for now. And Rossi and Dovi battling out at the line, but we end up behind GP19. Not ideal. That is last year's Ducati. We've got this year's Ducati, the same bike as the Pramac and also the factory team, but in the Moto2 as well. Race, we wanted a top 10, but we got 15th and 19th, and we need to work on their pace for the race then. So we're getting in, we're looking at some more R&D. Like I say, we're going to focus on the frame. Electronics, I've got an upgrade going on as well, and I'm going to upgrade our Moto2 team as well. So for team development, you can invest money in your team, and they'll improve things like finance costs, facilities, that sort of thing as well, which is pretty interesting. So I'm just getting in, doing that, and we can also do some bike development. So I'm going to get on the frame as well. I want them to have a good handling bike. That is my focus for season 7, good handling, and then straight line speed will be secondary, especially for us on the Ducati. We know the Ducati motor's decent as well. So here we go, Q1. I want to get straight into Q2 if possible, and as you can see, we are top of the leaderboards in Q1, back on the pace, a blip out of Qatar, but here at Austin, Texas, a track where it suits us better and it suits the bike better too, and we end up in Q1. So Q2 then, 3 minutes to go, 204.4 from Marc Marquez. We set a 205.3, and I can improve on that a lot. That was a pretty scruffy lap. That was our first attempt. But coming to number 1, Cal Crutchlow exiting the pit there, in our way a little bit. Not what you want to be doing on your pole position attempt. I don't know if we'll get pole, but again, more contact with the Honda man, Cal Crutchlow. The Honda seemed to have a lot of pace. You'll see in the race, Crutchlow and Marquez had quite a bit of pace. I don't know what happened to Alex Marquez, but we'll find out very soon. So in the end, 204.8 puts us 3.5 tenths off of Marquez's time, and that's going to give us P5 on the grid. And I'm going to go for 7 laps of fuel, so an extra 2 laps of fuel. We're going to use Power Mode 2 down those long straights, and I've gone for medium front and rear tyres. So's Dovi, the Yamahas are using hard tyres, and I think Marquez went for a soft as well, so Alex Marquez did at the back too, so a big variety of tyre choices for the race. But here we go then, Austin, Texas. Let's get our season back on track. Let's see what we can get. Can we get a top 5? Can we break onto the podium? Well, we'll find out. A huge wheelie off of the line as well, which is not ideal. Going to compromise our start, but coming to turn number 1, it's all squeezing up, contact with Quartararo. Crutchlow on the outside there, but we're going side by side with the Frenchman here down the hill and trying to get around the outside. Morbidelli was coming at us, but we're going to try and slot back in front of him. We've got Rins up the road, Quartararo too. So let's see if we can pick up them both in one corner through the S's side by side with Rins. Rins is not having any of it. He's got a lot of grip in his Suzuki, but wait for the straights. We might be able to get him. He might be a bit of a sitting duck. I don't really know how quick it is this season. But under pressure, Morbidelli trying it around the outside. He's going to end up running wide, and we're going to stay just in front of both Petronas Yamaha bikes. Obviously, Quartararo's got the factory bike, and Morbidelli has last year's one. I believe that's how the Petronas team are set up. But then, ending the opening lap, we're in P6. We lost one position off of the start, running wide at the final corner. Just got braking on the curb there, and it just sent us out wide a little bit, not ideal. But the mid-corner grip was still not great round here, but I was able to manage it a lot better here today at this Austin, Texas Grand Prix. But middle of lap number 2 at the end of the long straight, we've just out-braked ourselves there. I was a little bit cocky on the brakes. I thought we could have got it all slowed down to get alongside Rins, but we're on the outside as well, and on the curb you've not got optimum braking power there. So in the end we slot back into P6 right behind our rival Alex Rins, and we're going to have to give chase to him again. You can see Crutchlow there getting past the factory Ducati of Dovizioso. So like I say, the Honda was quick here in the race, and already Crutchlow going after, I think it's Vinales in second place. But we've got Morbidelli behind, so we can't get complacent here. We're going to have to move forward in this Grand Prix if possible. And you can see we're all over the back of Alex Rins here. It's just a waiting game. Just had to catch back up to him after that mistake at the end of this straight. But this time round, I'm going to absolutely bomb it on the brakes. And hopefully we can get alongside him, close the gap a little bit. You can see the leg comes out and we're closing down on Rins on contact into the corner entry there. So Rins won't be happy with that, but we've unsettled him a little bit. He's going to try and get Dovizioso, but I'm going to try and get underneath of both of them. Whoa, we just slot in behind Dovizioso for now. Rins coming back up the inside. Can we get a cutback on the exit here? Well, we're going to try. It's the Suzuki there in the middle of our Ducati sandwich, but I'm going to flick it to the inside, and we're going to get both of them surely in one corner. Rins is out wide, but he's going to make it work. We've elected for the shallow line, and our lines collide. More contact with Alex Rins. He will not be happy with that, and I won't be surprised if we've picked up a little bit of damage, both of us, so that might affect us in this race. We cut him off into the final corner, but we're going to stand the bike up and accelerate to the line. We're in P4 and we're starting lap number 4 side by side with Alex Rins on the Suzuki into turn number 1 up the hill. We're giving him the space if he needs it. We don't want to get into any more crashes, but Rins, we ended up running a little bit deep, gave him a bit too much room, and he's through. So we're going to have to catch back up to him, try and get the move, but I think we can get Alex Rins, for 4th place, sort of better the rest. But here we go, final lap. We're still sort of a few tenths behind him, but I'm pushing it. The rear tyre's asking for a little bit more forgiveness, but no, we've got to plough on. We're going to try and get Rins here. Rins has caught up to Vinales too. Vinales has been struggling with his tyres, I think, over the last few laps. But we're going to stick it with him, chuck it. Oh, Marquez, race leader. He was absolutely dominating, and I think he's chucked it down the road here. You can see just as you enter the long straight, what happens? Does it just fold on and come into turn 10? Does it just fold? I think it does. Yeah, down he goes from the lead of the race. He didn't have to take any risks, no pressure, and just a classic Marquez mistake there. So I think Crutchlow is leading this race. He was behind Marquez before he crashed, so he must be leading. So now that puts us in fight for the podium. I did not expect this. I thought we were fighting for 4th, but that mistake from Marquez cost him. You can see Rins is trying to battle Vinales, and this is allowing us to catch up. I know I'm quick through the last 2 corners. We have historically through the last 6 seasons of career mode, so I'm going to use that to our advantage. We're going to just try and find the grip from the rear tyre, lay on the brakes into turn 19. A little bit over the curb in there, but we get away with it. And now we're going to line it up on the inside into the final corner. Leg comes out. Turn number 20, side by side with Vinales wrestling. And the Yamaha, he's just going to edge us to the line there. And we're going to have to settle for P3, but I don't care. Podium after that shambles out in Qatar. We get it back on track. And Crutchlow for the win for Honda. Disappointing he's not going to be in it next year. Well, we're still to find out what his plans are, but he's not going to be racing for Honda. But in the end then, Danilo Petrucci got 5th, Morbidelli 6th, Rossi 7th, Quartararo 8th, Dovi only 9th, and a DNF from Marquez 2. So that's going to shake up the championship. Crutchlow leads. I don't think I've ever seen that on this game. 6 points behind him is Vinales, and 7 points behind is Rossi. Then Marquez in 4th, and we are in 10th. So we're climbing up after not getting any points last race out at Qatar. So we're trying to get our season back on track. A few more podiums and we should be nearer the top. Of course, we'd like to get the championship with our brand new team if possible. So that's the aim. We need to get more podiums, so we're going to have to aim for 2 more podiums next time out, and then hopefully we'll get a few more frame upgrades on the bike and we can start fighting for the wins for our Ducati team. But there you go, that's been it. The start of Season 7, Creator Team Career Mode with the GoPro Ducati team. Hopefully it's going to be a cracker, but we'll have to find out. So make sure you tune in next episode. This race was a post-commentated one. Do let me know if you want live or post-commentated. I'll probably do episode number 2 of Season 7 as a live com. So let me know which you prefer out of the 2. I quite enjoyed this one, so you might see more post-commentary career mode videos. But here you go. LCR collecting their trophy. We'll be celebrating on the podium. So for now, if you guys are new around here, make sure you get subscribed for the rest of this season and plenty more MotoGP content. There's also F1 career mode on the channel if you're more into Formula 1. But for now, hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.